Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are so excited for Meditation Monday, and an expert is in the house, Ms. Elizabeth Winkler. Thank you so much for being here today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Elizabeth, so great to meet you, and you look so amazing in that color, so gorgeous.
Thank
looks
you.
like love. She
Right?
just looks like love. Shoes included.
Yep.
Yes.
Got my love on.
Yeah.
Walking peace. So, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, yeah. What was your journey to that? What made you decide this is the course you wanted to take in your life?
Good question. Well, I found therapy my freshman year in college, and my mother passed away soon after that. And so loss has been a big part of my story. And I actually find that for most of my clients. Loss is what brings people into the office often. But through the doorway of fear or loss, we often are at our knees, right? And that's what brings us to consider a new path. So I really found psychology in college, and I was opened the book and read it, and I'm like, this is how I think, you know? And just really dove in, and it's been quite a process for a long time.
Absolutely love that. Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about that loss leading to sort of awakening. You know,
Yes.
different again on a different kind of on a spiritual level, and he calls it the way of the cross.
Yes.
And he says that through people who have experienced loss, you can, you know, prevent your own sort of negative adverse experiences, and you can become awakened now. You can become more mindful now. You can be happier now. And so that's one of the things that you do now. You teach mindfulness and meditation. And so what would you say, you know, was the greatest step in getting to that place? Because you experienced this loss, you found psychology, but how'd you make the leap to meditation and mindfulness from there?
Okay, great question. So a few years ago, I started I always meditated for over 20 years now. However, it really shifted when I made it, as I was talking earlier, like an altar and a daily practice. That shifted everything. And I started to really notice, wow, this is making a huge change in me. So what I say, my children at the time, I used them as, this may sound funny, but my guinea pigs. And I had them in their car seats, and I created what I call car seat meditation. So I had them strapped in. I said, you know, if it's working on me, maybe it'll work on them. And so I would just do a guided meditation with them on the way to school. And when I picked them up, I would check in and say, did you go to the river or the waterfall? I'd make something up, you know, which was reflective of challenges arising on the yard or whatever it may be, and saw that it really was helping them. So that's really what made this huge turning of the tide for me, which I was very curious as to, okay, it's working with me, and I see, you know, all sorts of people in my practice, but what about these little ones? Why aren't we focusing on them?
Oh my gosh.
And
You
this
know?
has brought you now to working with children with meditation.
Yes.
So great, so
Yes,
amazing.
I
Tell
love
us about
it.
that.
So I currently teach from 5 years old. I teach starting in kindergarten through 5th grade, so that's 5 to 12. And I go in and I teach them present-oriented languaging, like, what are you noticing? That's the big word, notice, notice, notice,
like
because it brings you into your body. Because, you know, when we're so locked in what you guys were talking about earlier, the chattering mind, which I think is the root of all of our problems, quite simply. And so we can really connect to presence. So teaching children how to connect to presence. So what are you noticing? So we start with that, and then all sorts of things. Can I tell you about this?
Yeah.
I brought a little prop.
Okay.
Okay, so what I do is I take this snow globe and I shake it up and I say, everyone seen a snow globe before? I go, see this? I go, this is what it's like when you come from recess or when you're emotional or when your chattering mind is going off. And I said, now how do we get it to settle? So I just go like this in front of the class and I just wait. They say, you stop, you know, pause. So I say, we pause. And so we just, that's what we're doing. And I call it with children, I call it noticing breaks. Instead of a timeout, let's take a noticing break.
So
What's a
nice.
noticing break? You just stop, you close your eyes. You notice maybe your body's going off, your snow globe is going off. And then you pause and you notice, and now what's happening? And so the glitter settles and it says good times lie ahead. That's not my quote. I would put they are always here.
Yeah,
You know, if you check in.
In LA, we have like blizzards. It's like the snow globes like going around in circles, and you're like, I don't know what's up or down or whatever,
It's
right?
glitter, it's sequins, it's all
Right.
sorts of
Yeah.
That's so great. So I have a question for you. So working with, I know you work with children, you work with couples, married couples, so on and so forth. And I'm curious to know, because you do traditional therapy and you do meditation and mindfulness. Where do you find like that formula for people? Like how much therapy versus daily spiritual practice and so on?
I love the question. So it's really what I call mindfulness now is I call it the bullet train to freedom. Because what I have found as a therapist, having done this for a long time, when I started to integrate mindfulness or meditation into our therapy sessions, I saw people working through something in literally a 10, 15-minute process that could take 6 months to clear and talk therapy. It's just more effective. So how does that work? With a child, I'll tell you about heart surgery maybe later, but with an adult, you use, let's say, I tell people, the more upset you are, the better. Okay, so if you're having a panic attack, great. Now, so you come to my office and people are like, I'm not doing all. I'm like, good. I'm so glad you're here. Why? Because we can use the activated energy, again, the snow globe, go into the body, find that form energy that is most likely resistant, and then be with that, get to know it, allow it, become friends with it, so to speak. And there's a whole process around that. And then it dissolves.
I find that when I get upset, I'm always like, what's really going on? Because it never has to do with what I think, I'm upset about this situation or whatever. And I keep pulling it back, and it's always something so much different than I first thought. Do you find that with the couples?
Yes, that's a great, I had last week, a couple came in with a little, superficial type argument, and we went, because I'm all about getting to the root. I want to cut it at the root, because then about 100 things are happening, 100 disturbances are happening from that root. So let's cut it at the root. And so, yes, it's always a deeper thing.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, if you don't go with the labeling of talk therapy, if you can not do that and you can just go into the actual sensation. I don't even like to call it anxiety or depression. Let's just call it energy or sensation. Yeah. And then go into it. We can clear not only what is activated now, but serious history that we don't even know what we're, so, and then that really clears the heart. So the whole point is to clear the heart, because an open heart, clear mind.
So what would you tell people though who, like me, are afraid to go there because you won't bounce back? Like, what if we really get to the root of it and you can't handle it?
Well, I would say you can handle it. So I'm really big on mantra. Okay, so the mind is always saying, I can't handle it. So I think what I'm sensing, just from what you're telling me, is that's your mind at play. Your mind loves to say,
This mind!
your mind is a constant, I can't.
Right.
I'm not okay with this. And that is the limitation. So the mantras I teach are, I can handle this, I'm fine with it, because that unplugs the mind and allows us to go into the heart so that this can become free. It's like in the heart, you can look at your disturbances like a caged puppy, kitty, or a baby, depending on which you like best, okay? And they're like knocking on your door, they're disturbing your snow globe, and they want freedom. This keeps them locked. But if you say, I'm fine with it, I can handle this, then you can open the cage and they can go out and they can be free.
That puppy will come out and play.
I love
Interesting.
that. So powerful. And such a great question, Jez. One of my favorite teachers who I saw on your Instagram page, which I love. Everybody's got to check out our Instagram page. Osho, and so great.
Hilarious.
And he's hilarious.
We
and
love
he's
him.
profound. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said something very interesting that you just reminded me of, which is essentially is that he said, people come to me with all their problems, their money problems, their relationship problems. He said, I don't deal with their problems at all. I deal directly with the troublemaker, and I cut the troublemaker's head right off.
Yes.
Troublemaker being simply the mind that's addicted to thinking and creating stories about everything and pretending that everything matters.
Right.
And I just love that. Do you find that your work with kids, that they're sometimes more available, or they more easily let go of the stories than adults?
Wonderful. I love your question. Thank you. So I was just in a classroom last week, and it was first grade. And so these are pretty young kids. And so, yes, when you go into kindergarten, they're totally available. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of story.
Wow.
But I was in a classroom the other day, first grade, and I said, have you noticed there's a voice in your head? Because who's teaching us this?
Right? They're like, what
No,
voice?
No.
We're all
That voice.
thinking, we all think that that's who we are, but that's not who you are. So I said, have you noticed? And this boy's like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And he was saying, he said, yeah, I go, have you noticed that it says I can't and I'm not okay with it? So I start out, that's part of languaging. So yes, I think that children are learning this. Obviously it's part of our programming, our conditioning that our culture has. And so we come in open, and then we have the programming, and then we have to let go, or hopefully we get the opportunity to let go of that, so that we can have the wonder of a child with the wisdom of an adult.
I love that.
Oh,
I love when you talk about, talking about the mind chatter, that voice in the head, and people are like, what voice in the head? Yeah, that voice that just said what voice in the head.
That one.
yeah, it's interesting. My brother's studying pediatric psychology, and he's at Boston Children's right now. And he works a lot with puppets because he mentioned it was easier for children to relate through the puppets and play their mind chatter through the puppets than that. So now, when I'm thinking of that, I visualize, like, what would my puppet be saying right now?
Perfect.
Because it's easier for me to let that go through a puppet than say that that's me.
Yes,
That's so
it's an
cute.
externalization, which is very powerful.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we need to take a little break, but when we come back, we hear that you do something called heart surgery.
I do.
And we're going to learn about what that is. So stay tuned, you guys. We're going to find out in just a minute how to do heart surgery. This is going to be fun. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh no, it's going to be another challenge.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to This Week in Focus. I am your host, Victoria Simone, bringing you some of the highlights of what was filmed last week at the Focus TV network, which is America's first video streaming talk show network. I have my girl today helping me out.
Jezlan, co-host of Good Morning LaLa. Tell me
Yes.
about This Week in Focus.
All right, well, first up, let's actually talk about the newest issue of Focus magazine with Lillian Garcia on the cover. This amazing woman is a singer, songwriter. She's a host of her own podcast, Chasing Glory, and she's a WWE alum. She was also on your show. Last week on the Focus TV network, we shot Moms Matter, hosted by Shirin Yadigar. We had Shift Happens with Matt Galan and psychic Michelle Mache. Aside from our normal lineup, we had Good Morning La La Land, who was on your show.
We had Get Fit with Katie Austin, Vance Soto of the Ola Henriksen Spa, and Ali Levine of Stripped. Of course, we
What?
invited Lillian back to the studio
Yes!
and gave her the cover here.
Thanks for tuning in to This Week in Focus. I'm your host, Victoria Simone. Jez, thanks for helping me out. Bye-bye.
I'm Jezlan Moye, co-host of Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show with one of my associate producers, Victoria Simone.
Hey girl, what happened this week in La La Land?
In case you missed us live, in La La Land on Monday, we got a fashion pass and we had 138 water with some of Maxim's finest. Tuesday was Vance Soto, owner of the Ola Henriksen Salon, and we got fit with Katie Austin. On Wednesday, we were lights, camera, action with Erin Alexander, and on Thursday, it was an incredible honor to have Lillian Garcia, who graces the cover of Focus magazine, here in studio. What? Friday, we got stripped with Ali Levine, and we got a look into some of the LA's top restaurants with Tammy Saffron of LA Chefs.
Yes.
It was a great week in La La Land.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We're having a fantastic conversation with Elizabeth Winkler. She's a mindfulness and meditation expert, marriage and family therapist. We have so many questions for you.
And we're about to get heart
We
surgery.
are about to get heart
What
surgery.
does that mean?
Okay, so heart surgery was something I created with my son one night in bed. All of my process that I have created through mindfulness have been through challenges. So that's a good
Jezlan
way.
loves challenges.
I love a challenge.
There you go. So it's a process. Basically, I see adults all day long, and here they are challenged with emotion. And I thought I would find a way. I didn't know that I was actually creating something when I did, but it really worked. Do you want me to walk you through
I
it?
loved it. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I have a different process for adults. which is a bit more refined, which we could do that too.
We're kids also, so whichever you decide.
I'll tell you about the kids.
Yeah,
I
let's do the
guess.
kids
Let's
one.
do the kids. Okay, so what we do is we all think of a challenge. If I go into a classroom, I have children think of a challenge. And you guys can think of a challenge that you have. Something that could be something that happened this morning, could be something big from a year ago. And what I do is I draw a heart on the board and I have them draw the emotion. So you don't have to do that. You can just, if you feel something like a form in your body now, if you have any tension in your body right now, I invite you to become in touch with that. Okay. And so then what we do with the children is the first step is the most important step, which is I give my mind and body permission to let go. Because our body does what our mind tells us. So that's kind of scary, right? If we're not in control of the mind, then become a slave to it rather than the master of the mind, right? Okay, so I give my body and mind permission to let go. Very important. Then I have them all take out their love scalpel, which is their finger,
Okay, we got her out.
and they open their heart. Okay? Yeah. And then what we do, and this is typically I'm sitting in front of one child in front of the class, and I pull out from their heart, like, can I do it?
Yeah.
I can do it.
Make it happen.
So I don't
We'll have a heart surgery. I didn't expect that today. No anesthesia. But
So
go in.
we open, and then you breathe. Breathing is very important, and we pull from the heart. And with children, what I do is I say what I'm experiencing, like there's a rope, it's green, and then you'll see children will be like, there's a unicorn, there's bugs coming out, like it's all. So we pull.
Scoopy,
You actually
slimy,
very strong energy. So we pull. So with children, we pull, and you can pull. So we pull, and it's like very fun process.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll feel the heat coming off, you'll feel whatever's coming out, and we pull it out until it's done. And it's a process. Like your energy was very strong. So it's not done.
Not done. Get it out of
You
there.
keep
Get it out. It's in there.
Let
It's
it
in there.
go.
and then often what I find is like there's cobwebs towards the end, and then but then it'll just feel like there's nothing left. So, and sometimes you'll have them pull it too. It's kind of like you're guided by your greater wisdom, and so you pull till it's done, and once it's out. Then we take our hands, I ask them, are you done? And they say yes. Because we always remember the noticing. So then I say, okay, notice how it feels now. And they'll say, I feel open. One girl said, I feel levitated. You said levitated earlier. She said, I feel levitated. One kindergartner said to me, now I know what it means to be open. Okay, so you hear lots of reports such as this. So then I say, okay, great. Now I want you to notice that, because we tend to only notice when we're disturbed.
It's true.
Please nurture when you feel open. So then they sit with that, and I say, and now add to that. Think of a person, a place, or a thing that makes you happy or peaceful. And so they add that to that already peaceful feeling, and then they cup their hands and then blow that energy into your hand. So we blow,
Okay, let's blow.
and then we seal our heart.
I was going to say, I'm going to want to keep that
Gotta
chest
keep
open.
it-
Seal our heart.
Close me up.
And so then if we're in a class, then I have them go up to you. I can show you images, they're all over my Instagram, of hearts that are full of all these crazy energies, and then they go up and they erase it. And so obviously what we're going for is a clear heart. A clear heart is an open heart with an open mind. So we're able to be in this moment and really experience what's happening.
Wow.
You mentioned a clear heart, and that's especially necessary at the end of a relationship. I know you also specialize in post-divorce.
Yes, I do.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Big event's coming up this Saturday.
Yes, I have an event with It's Over Easy. We're doing a panel to help people with the process, whether you're going through divorce, separating, or any kind of breakup. It's such a challenge. I was talking about loss earlier and how we can get so frozen in those situations. But I really want people to find their own path through loss, to be able to discover a new way of being.
And that's what the Bumble Biz, right? Is that correct? That event?
The event is all about post-divorce. And so we have different people speaking.
But it's at the Bumble, the
Hive.
business
Yeah.
hive thing
Yes.
for, okay,
Yes.
cool. That's so
Yes.
cool.
Yes, this Saturday, 2 to 4.
That's
And
great.
You also do a lot of work in entertainment, right? So for years you've been working with OWN, you've been working with Bravo, and Vanderpump Rules. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? We all have a little experience with that because that world, both scripted and unscripted TV and entertainment, is a world that really deeply needs and sometimes values mindfulness. So how has that experience been? Yeah.
Emphasis on sometimes.
Yes.
There's a facade
hear you.
of mindfulness going on, but it's not really mindful.
Yeah, I think to be able to bring some calm to a storm is a gift, challenging gift,
Yes,
maybe.
it is. Yeah.
One that I hope to bring.
Yeah.
So yes, I worked on Bravo's Vanderpump the first 3 seasons, and that was my first entry into that world. And then I went and worked on Living Lozada with OWN, and that was a really wonderful experience. They really honored the process and showed how therapy works. So that was a very different situation.
Yeah.
And it's brought me into, with my own divorce and mindful untethering, which is the way I look at how to uncouple gracefully and with love and how to create more love. I was motivated to use TV, reality TV, to, so to speak, marry reality TV with healing, rather than using it as this force that's kind of falling apart, to be that calm. So I'm working on something there.
Were you as surprised as I was by how much a lot of the cast members on those shows were deeply in want and need of happiness and peace and love? I was really overwhelmed. I mean, I thought I was going to be in a situation where it was just all about the entertainment and TV, but these folks were really deeply needing and wanting more peace in their lives. Was that your experience?
Oh, yes. That's
Yeah.
what I think that's what we all want. Who doesn't want that? We're just looking for it in the wrong places.
Right. And the reality is like the reality shows, meaning that I think that if you take each individual, everyone's probably really amazing human beings. But when you put it together with a production team that's trying to dramatize it, it makes
alcohol.
everyone, it makes it,
Yeah.
it makes it into, what really actually isn't necessarily reality.
Right. Absolutely.
So fascinating.
it is.
So fascinating. So we've taken another break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this all up, give some tips for how you can take meditation into your life and a few little things. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Good morning, LaLa Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jezlan. Monday through Friday, we are going to be streaming to you live, Los Angeles.
America's first live streaming daily talk show.
At 9 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And we have a sexy show for you today.
We have got Will, Leanne, and Gabe in the house. Let's go back there. Hi!
Talked to 4 beautiful, intelligent, conscious women. Clearly, I was miserable the entire time.
She has a TV show similar to your guys.
Ellen.
Yes!
The little peck. Come on.
I feel so bad for Jess.
We're live. Do it for the people viewing.
For the people.
M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E Club Mickey Mouse.
We definitely were not prepared today, and it was
Hang on, but the other half.
We are streaming to you live Monday through Friday on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Happy holidays.
It's gonna be a
Good morning, La La Land.
5, 6, 7, 8. We are the Mouseketeers, and we probably wear our ears. We mousin', we mousin', M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E Club Mickey Mouse. Good morning, La La Land.
with Meditation Monday, and it's been a great day discussing meditation and the benefits, science, and all kinds of good stuff. So during the break, we have a little thing on the show now that where we don't, whenever someone started talking about something good on the breaks, we're like, save it. We call it Regis, because Regis and Kelly and used to say this where we didn't want to talk about stuff. So in the break, you guys were bonding about Rupert. I don't know Rupert's last name.
Yeah, Rupert Spira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. They were like, oh, it's worked so great. So let's hear about it.
Well, I run groups. I was saying I run groups on Untitled Soul and Eckhart Tolle and Rupert Spira, and you know who he is, which I was so excited because I feel like Deepak Chopra said on one of his books, you know, he's the master currently right now, like his ability to use inquiry, because Ramana Maharshi, who you mentioned earlier, brought this whole Advaita Vedanta, who am I practice, and it's been very challenging for people to be able to really bring that into their life.
Yes.
But I feel like he has such precision, so he can take a person and just really bring you into the current experience because it's all experiential.
Oh, it's just so beautifully stated. Yeah, I discovered Rupert Spira online, and what's interesting about him is, you know, that there are people that are mystics that are deeply at peace, right? They know who they are, the deepest essence, and they live that out. And then there are people that are poets, right? And then there are people that are mystics and poets. So they just have this ability with language to be able to express this mystical or enlightened experience that they have through words, through precise, and Rupert is one of those people. He's so precise with his language that in some ways he bypasses your mind completely, goes directly to your heart and gives you an experience. It's like a transmission of presence and peace. And it's really profound. So to get a shout out by Deepak, of course, is the ultimate endorsement. But
Sounds like the spoken word without being preaching.
Yes, and well, what he's gifted, it's exactly what he's saying. He brings you into your body so that you have the actual experience, and he uses your experience in the current moment so that your proof is in the now.
Yeah. So all the greatest teachers, they always really, what they did was, their words were an excuse to bring you to meditation, and that in their presence itself was meditation. It was just a transmission of peace and presence and enlightenment just through their presence.
So he has videos and books.
Yes.
And what else?
I would start with his videos. His books are, I mean, he's really profound and very challenging.
Okay, we're coming to the end. So let me give you this real quick. We want to give you a little gift. It's called a Karma Army coin, and it's all about paying it forward. So it's, you know, buying someone a tea or a coffee or doing something extraordinary and giving them the coin. And there's a little code on it. You can go to the website and you can put stories of whatever happened with that coin. And then you can watch your butterfly effect. It's actually the GPS that goes along. You can see where it goes in the world. Everything, right? So yeah, we wanted to say thank you so much for all of your work and everything
For
you're
the
up
heart
to.
surgery.
Heart
Untethered.
for working with the kids, for working with people going through divorce, all the above. So you're just an incredible, extraordinary woman, and that's what we want to showcase on this show. People like you.
You can invoice our producer for the heart surgeries. You can't afford it, but it's expensive, I have a feeling. But
I love
thank you
it.
so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right?
Lovely to be with you.
So how much time do you spend in the office versus out on reality television?
I'm in the office mostly these days, but that's always changing. It's a constant flux.
Right. And where can people find you?
Oh, Winkler Therapy on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, and my website is elizabethwinkler.com.
And you take private one-on-ones and
Yes.
groups, and she's open for new reality shows as well. All right?
Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow for #Transformation Tuesday here on Good Morning LaLa Land. We are America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now on Twitter.
And happy holiday, you guys. Want to give a
Yes.
shout out to all the people who have been in service, and knowing that we are all healing, and may we all heal.
It's going to be
Right?
a good
Yes.
morning, LaLa Land.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are you, obviously it's a holiday for you today? Holiday office is closed today?
Actually, it's seeing 2 clients now.
Oh, yeah. What are most of the clients come up? Referrals or-
It's usually referral, word of mouth. Typically, I mean,
How long have you been in
So true.
practicing?
in what?
How long have you been practicing?